What is geologic timescale? Well, the Earth is so old that it's had 4.6 billion years. People called geologists have counted up all the years and made a big fancy chart to help us remember them all. Geoscientists use the geological timescale to assign relative age names to events and rocks, separating major events in Earth's history based on significant change as recorded in rocks and fossils. Geologic timescale is one of the most important things you need to know when you start to study geology. There are so many Earth years that we have to arrange them into phases. These phases are sometimes called eons. The eons are broken up into eras, which are broken up into periods and epochs. The first eon is called the Hadean. It was named after the Greek god of the underworld, Hades. This time represents Earth's earliest history during the planet was characterized by a partially molten surface, volcanism, and asteroid impacts. Next eon is the Archean. Everything is chilled out a bit by now, and the continents are forming. This takes a really long time and life is starting to form in the oceans. But what life forms existed during the Archean eon? Our oldest fossils date to roughly 3.5 billion years ago and consist of bacteria microfossils. In fact, all life during the more than 1 billion years of the Archean was bacterial. The Archean coast was home to rounded colonies of photosynthetic bacteria called stromatolites. After that is the Proterozoic, combines the two forms of ultimately Greek origin, protero meaning former or earlier, and zoic meaning of life. It is the first eon to have the development of any living beings. During the Proterozoic eon, we get the first complex cells and the first things that are made up of more than one cell. It is the longest eon as the Proterozoic is ending. We get the first plants and first animals.
The final eon is called the Phanerozoic, which means visible life. It started about 500 million years ago with the explosion of new and crazy-looking living things and continues to this day. Phanerozoic eon is divided into three eras that is divided into 12 periods. The first era is called the Paleozoic, which means old life. It is divided into six periods. The first period is called Cambrian. It is the formation of largest number of organisms in Earth. Next period is Ordovician, where marine life was flourished. After that is the Devonian. It is the age of the fish, which featured the diversified fish species, and the first trees with seeds was formed. The fourth period is called the Carboniferous, the high global temperature which warms has dominated the Earth. The last period of Paleozoic era is the Permian, where the first reptile organism dominated the surface of the Earth and the landmass called Pangaea was still present. The second era is called Mesozoic, means middle life, but it really means dino or dino-like. It is divided into three periods. The first period is called Triassic, where first dinosaur and first reptile roamed the earth, and the landmass called Pangaea was still present. Next period is Jurassic, where Pangaea started to divide and conifers, where dominating species is the flora.
The last period of Mesozoic era is called Cretaceous, where angiosperms have dominated the flora component of the ecosystem. The last era is called Cenozoic. It is the present era where we got pretty looking things that bloom. This era is divided into three periods that has 7 epochs. This period is called Paleogene, that is divided into 3 epochs. The first epoch is the Paleocene, where modern placental mammals have originated. Next epoch is the Eocene, where small mammals like primates, whales, horses, etc. have formed and weighed less than 10 kilograms. Last epoch is the Oligocene, where there is an expansion of grass and the time where first elephants, cats, dogs, and pouch mammals have begun to walk the surface. The second period is called Neogene, that is divided into 2 epochs. The first epoch is Miocene, where the grass has spread on the Earth's surface. The second epoch is the Paleocene, the dramatic climatic change that drove the evolution of modern day flora and fauna. The last period of Cenozoic era is called Quaternary, the present period. It is divided into 2 epochs. The first epoch is Pleistocene, where ice ages due to the cooling trend in this time. Many mammals such as saber-toothed mammoths and hominid species have evolved. The last epoch is called the Holocene, the present epoch where the human history began. That is the geologic timescale.